Are you good, Andy?
I think, hold on, this went off.
Hang on a Okay, we're good. We good, Sarah? Okay. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Committee of the Whole meeting of the Village of Walton Hills, Tuesday, March 16th, 2021, at 7:02 p.m. This meeting is being live streamed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are following House Bill 404 that allows public bodies to meet electronically through July 2021. Okay, roll call.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller. Here. Councilman Linville.
Present.
Councilwoman Allen.
Here.
Councilwoman Terlasky.
Here.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Here.
Councilman Whedon.
Here. All of council present, along with our fiscal officer, Angela Rivet, and our law solicitor, John Montello. Okay. Item number 3 is motion to approve COW meeting minutes. We have a motion to approve the COW meeting minutes of January 19th, 2021.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for January 19th, 2021.
Second.
Second by Debbie Linville. Okay.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman.
Hold on.
I just had one small correction.
Oh, go
Yes.
ahead.
Both on the 19th and February 2nd. Please use my full name. Raymond.
Oh, you just want your full name in there. Oh, sorry,
That's
yeah.
all. That's all.
Okay, we'll make those corrections.
Item 360 now as well. We did use it, or you want your, sorry.
That one-
I try to stick to last names.
It's Raymond, you want to use Raymond.
I mean Raymond, not Raymond.
Yeah,
Up in the attendance part,
Yes.
in the roll call? Okay, got it, sorry. I was
Okay.
gonna say, we usually try to go last name as the
All
other.
right.
Okay. We will do that. All right, so on the 19th, we were back to the voting.
Yes,
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
okay. Minutes of January 19th, 2020 of the COW meeting passed. Okay. Can I get a motion for item B, COW meeting minutes of February 2nd, 2021?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the COW meeting minutes of February 2nd, 2021.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Spitznagel.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Okay. Minutes of February 2nd, 2021 passed. Thank you, everybody. Item C, the COW meeting minutes of February 9th, 2021. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Spitznagel.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the COW meeting minutes of February 9th,
Second.
2021.
Second.
Second by Mr. Whedon.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Okay, minutes, COW meeting minutes of February 9th, 2021 passed. Thank you, everybody. Okay. Any comments related to the agenda items on this evening's agenda? Any comments from any residents?
None from residents yet.
Okay. Welcome to the residents that are on tonight too with us, or any non-residents that are watching tonight. Okay. Then any comments from council before we move on to legislation? Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the legislation. Item A, Resolution 2021-4, Internet Auction. This is on this evening in the council meeting for third reading. We voted, council's voted on it twice, first and second reading. We have had discussion on it. I don't know if we need to, anybody has any other questions or want to have any discussion, any more discussion on that moving forward?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I do know that Councilman Whedon last week brought up, I think it was actually in the other, for the lawn care service with only one bidder with the, putting it in the newspapers. But I just want to point out that this also has in section 2 that this will be advertised not only on our website but in a local newspaper. And our newspapers they're dwindling, so I don't know if, we don't have the Sun around here anymore,
No,
do we?
we don't.
Just, in the Plain Dealer, I don't know what the cost is, but, I mean, I guess we have to do that. But I don't know if there's any other venue we could find that has. I know most people that look at these internet auctions, they just go directly to .gov, auction.gov.
Right.
There's 2 or 3 of them, and they don't even bother with the newspaper. So I'm just wondering how, I know it's the law, but actually how effective it is and how it's outdated it's getting to be,
Yes, possibly, especially with the Plain Dealer cost being higher to advertise, but I can also look at some other community papers as well. We've got our Summit County, as you saw, that we use for, those papers still for lawn care, so certainly I could go into those. And then if we can't find something that's equivalent to what our Sun News used to be, I'll try to hit the neighborhood news and, if there's other publications, at least in the vicinity,
Yeah.
in the county and other cities.
I think it's certainly more relevant, the idea that Councilman Whedon brought up with local vendors, local, like
Sure.
landscapers and things. I think it's more relevant for that
Yeah,
than really would be for this, but still,
right.
it's just we have to do our
Yeah,
legwork and find
it's part
something
of,
that's
it's part of
appropriate.
revised code for Ohio, so it does have to happen.
Right.
Mayor Colgraf,
Yes, Mr.
if I may comment on that, I don't have the Ohio Revised Code in front of me, but what I do know that it does say as it relates to advertising, it speaks to if your local community does not have a generally distributed newspaper, then the advertisement must go in a newspaper that is generally distributed in your community. So whatever newspaper is generally distributed within Walton Hills would be inappropriate. So again, we talked about Summit County, to put it in the Summit County paper unless that paper is delivered within Walton Hills wouldn't necessarily.
Yeah.
Which delivered is also a relative term these days because the Plain Dealer only has a
So-
couple days of delivery.
So I'm just saying what it says. It
Yeah.
says if you don't have one in your municipality, because it also goes on to talk about our ordinance talks about the 5 areas that we post, in the village. I don't know if anybody ever looks at those anymore, but also that it must be in a paper that is generally distributed, circulated in your community if you don't have
Right.
a community-wide publication, so.
like you said, with the revised code, if it's contingent to us or it's something close, I don't think we'll have a problem with that.
Yeah.
They just want to see in good faith that you're trying to get it out to your community.
Right.
You're right.
So, any other questions related to the internet auction? Okay. Who would like that would be for third reading. They wouldn't have to introduce this, they would just introduce it, correct, John? That's all we have to do, because it's third reading.
Yes.
So you just have to introduce it without suspension.
Gloria.
Gloria, okay. Gloria will introduce that. Okay, we're on item B, Resolution 2021-6, blanket purchase orders. This is also on here for third reading.
I'll do that, Mayor, if nobody else wants to do it.
Okay. And is, Angela, you're following me, and Jennifer, that is third reading, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just want
Is
to make
that-
sure, or any other council members, that I got it right.
Yes.
Mayor, I know it's third reading, but is that for emergency?
There is a difference there, right?
Yeah,
You put
emergency, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, John, you can, emergency, go ahead.
If six of you, if all of you vote for it, it passes as an emergency.
Oh, does it?
Yes.
Okay.
But if we said emergency, it doesn't hurt, correct?
Right,
Okay, so,
If you didn't have the two-thirds.
right, in case you weren't gonna also have 3 readings.
Right.
it puts it in quicker than 90.
Well, then, yeah, then you don't have to wait the 30 days, right, John?
Right.
For it to,
I mean, to be clear, you could suspend the rules just to, make it clear, but it does, by operation of law, it passes as an emergency if all of you agree, if the two-thirds of you agree, it passes, but it's three-quarters, three-quarters if you all agree, it passes.
It's two-thirds on the, on that legislation. So
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt to put in
I'll just
emergency.
say for emergency.
Yeah,
that way.
doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Then it goes in effect immediately
Then
regardless
it goes
of.
into effect immediately, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of our purpose. Yes. So Brian's going to introduce that. Okay, we good with that then?
Yeah.
Can we move on to item C then? Item C is Resolution 2021-7, Sharpscape Senior Lawn Care. We're basically the administrator for it. We don't pay anything for it, the residents pay for it. We just help negotiate a contract, get a contract in place for them, and they pay Sharpscapes there. I'd ask for that for suspension because it starts up in April.
Mhm.
That would be okay.
Okay.
Who would like to introduce that?
I'll do that again.
All right, right.
Brian's just hogging them all up.
And that'd be for suspension, Brian.
Okay.
Any questions on any of that so
No.
far? Okay. So are we good with item C? Okay. Item D is Resolution 2021-8. That's a change order, number 1 for Fabrizi Trucking and Paving Incorporated. We didn't we put that on for first
Yes,
reading?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd really like to see this, if my fellow council people agree, passed today, being that we are acting as a joint venture, so to speak. We pay Fabrizi, Maple Heights has the money, they pay us. They need their sewers repaired, it's a wash. I don't think there's any need to drag this out from, when Maple Heights needs their sewers repaired and they have the money. So that's my opinion. So I'd have to see how my fellow council people feel about that. But that's just my point of view.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Jennifer.
I would like to see this for suspension, and I believe the work has already been done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
the work has been done,
you know, I
then we
mean,
might as well
this is-
pay them and
right,
let us get
this
paid.
is, it's just unfortunate when it came, and because I hate to have everything for suspension, but to me, for this just to be sitting and waiting it's just not necessary.
No.
This is, the work's already been done, the village will be paid by the city of Maple Heights for it, and we might as well just get the ball moving so we can get reimbursed for what
Let's
was,
pay for Breezy
for what
then,
was done.
yes.
Yeah.
That is correct. Just, go ahead, Jen.
Also, there's an extra, there'll be 5 weeks before our next council meeting. So, the regular council meeting. We have an extra week this one. So we have the 22nd, the 29th, the 5th, the 12th, and the 19th will be the next regular council meeting.
Had a special meeting, that's correct, good point. I would agree with everybody too, because, like you said, it's not costing us anything.
Right.
We're just part of the administration of it because it's part of the project. And we do have all the documentation. We have a letter from Maple Heights engineer that as soon as we get the bill, we submit the bill, and they'll pay it right away, so.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce it.
For suspension.
Yes, please.
Is council in agreement with that?
Is this a resolution, or, this is a resolution, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that doesn't need, resolutions don't really need an emergency, do they?
Yes, we do.
Do they?
Yeah, well,
Anything comes quicker than 3 readings.
Why, is it not on there?
I don't know. I was just thinking, I know
Well,
our
you know,
ordinance
let me
do,
check.
if you don't want to wait the 30 days,
Joe
but for a
drafted it, so
resolution,
let me look.
I don't know if they
It's written as a
require
I mean,
30
you've
days.
given it a reading at least as well, so.
It's there, so we're
Yeah, it's
good.
there.
That's right.
So just read it for emergency. Suspension,
Right.
Okay.
because we are suspending,
Yeah.
1 reading, 2 readings, one reading actually. Okay, so Mary's gonna do that. Okay, are we good with item D? Okay. Item E, ordinance 2021-3. This is the police collective bargaining agreement. Okay, we have been discussing that. As mayor, I'm recommending that it moves forward under suspension. I'm going to refer to the committee chairman, and then he can talk how the committee feels, and then the committee can give their recommendation to council and go from there. Ray, if you want, I don't know if
Yes.
you want to mention anything about it.
Good evening again, Mayor Colograph, members of council. This ordinance number 2021-3 as listed on the agenda, we do need to make that change on the actual attachment, that it does reflect 2021-3. I would like to introduce this or recommend this adoption tonight by suspension. This ordinance authorizing a collective bargaining agreement with the Village of Walton Hills and the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 67, Walton Hills Division, and declaring an emergency. The committee, or 2 members of the Safety Committee was on the negotiating team, as Councilwoman Jennifer Allen and myself as chair of the Safety Committee. And we had 3 or 4 very good sessions with, negotiation sessions with the Fraternal Order of Police. And the council has had opportunity to peruse the particulars of the agreement through executive session, and want to recommend that we adopt this tonight, or move this forward tonight by way of suspension.
Mr. Chairman, your committee's in favor of that, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
When does this take effect?
It would take effect immediately, but pay would be retroactive, Denny, from
What
January.
period before those, what I'm saying?
It's from,
that?
it's
What
from,
period of time
it's
are we
from
talking about?
January 1, 2021
We have
through
plenty of time to work on this, Mayor. We don't need to
Through-
pass this tonight.
December.
We've already worked on
We've
it,
already
Denny.
worked
We've been
on it.
working on it for months. The committee's
We're
been,
behind
the
schedule.
committee's been working on it for months now.
Well, I'm not ready to vote on this.
Well, that's up to you. As a councilman, that's up to you. It's up to the committee what they want to do.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
But I would agree to suspension with this. This should have been completed before the end of the year. So, and the pay is going to have to go either way retroactively back to the beginning of this year. And again, we're not going to have another regular council meeting for at least 5 weeks. So I really don't see a reason why to hold up that money for our officers and the position changes and things like that that we've negotiated to put through.
And just for clarification, the process that was followed here is the same process that has been followed in years past. The representatives from the police meet with the mayor, the fiscal officer, and the committee. The committee reviews it. Then the committee shares it with council. Most of the time they share it because it's a collective bargaining agreement, and the Ohio Revised Code states that they can share it with their council members in executive session. We've had 2 executive sessions relating to that, where this agreement was discussed, and talked about with all council members, and so everybody is fully aware and has seen the agreement more times than just tonight, just to let everybody know. And it's the recommendation of the committee and myself. I think, just to say, I think the police representation came in with a very fair contract. And I'd like to thank Tom Sursak and Melissa Walsh for representing it. Went very well. They came in very reasonable, and I think it's a very good contract. So,
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
would either you or Councilman Whedon like to just say what the generalities of the contract are, as far as I'm sure residents would be interested in, like if they're getting a pay raise and what that is, and just the generalities of it, you know what I mean?
Okay, John, with that said, I'm going to ask you, is that something we should discuss before it's passed, or can we discuss that or on the?
Because it's still not a public
Still
document.
not a public document until it
Yeah.
passes.
I would say, better not to. We can say what the proposal is, and I think everybody's down probably knows it already.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. I mean, we can wait until, if people aren't comfortable, I don't mind waiting at all
Okay.
until the council meeting
That'd
and
be up to
voting
you.
on it.
Yeah.
And I know it's a contract, but I think we're ready to, just by the nods, I think we're ready to vote on it,
Yes.
so. I don't think there's gonna be any snags in passing.
Okay.
Okay.
So, with that said, and then we can discuss it in the council meeting.
Very good.
Are we more comfortable with that? Okay.
Works for me.
So who's going to, are we going to
Yeah.
introduce this for suspension?
Yeah, Mayor, I would like to introduce this ordinance for suspension.
Okay, Mr. Whedon. Okay. Any questions from the audience? Any questions on?
Just Mr. Blondin said it was hard to hear John, so that's all. Thank you.
Any more discussion on the contract? Okay. We did have something that came out of it about the one item having year in there. That's been fixed.
Clarities,
Having what?
for clarification.
For clarification,
Oh,
the
okay.
one
Yeah.
came out of, there was an edit in
Been
there
updated.
to put year in there, in that one item,
Mhm.
just to make a note. So that's, everything that was discussed has been
Addressed.
addressed.
Okay.
Okay, we ready to move on? Okay, item F, ordinance 2021-4, that's permanent appropriations, which means that's the village budget in front of us here. And we've been working on the budget a long time. We passed a temporary budget before the end of the year. We have to get this budget passed before April 1st. We've gone through it quite a few times. Our last COW meeting, we went through it line by line, made the corrections that were, brought forward. You can see that all the amounts are in there. You should have the corrected budget in front of you. I'd like to see the budget passed. I think it's a good budget. I think it's very conservative, and I think we're actually going to have a very good year moving forward. As you know, there's some good things on the horizon. Just to share one thing, it doesn't mean it shouldn't have any effect on the budget, but we did find out that with the COVID relief bill, but let me just get the exact numbers here. I have it in front of me. but I want to read something here, okay?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
while you're looking that up, I would like to introduce this for suspension. And the reason for suspension being, we have to have this filed, Angela, by April, correct?
Yes.
So this
It
needs to
go
get
through.
filed with the county and the, so this
Correct.
definitely has to be voted on tonight.
well, if not, we would have to have a special council
Well-
meeting, that would be correct.
Yes.
That would be correct. Well, just with that said, just with the federal COVID relief bill that was passed, which is the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, our village is being allocated $444,874 to use for COVID relief. Not that that should have any influence on that, but it will cover some of the things that we do spend money on related to COVID. And there's plenty of them, as we all know. Instead of coming out of our general fund, we'll be able to allocate some of those things, and the range of that relief has gotten a little bit larger. So that's going to be a benefit to the community. So we appreciate that happening, because like all communities, we could use the help too. So,
Mr. Mayor,
yes,
that, the range of that relief has come quite a long way. So I believe the last package we got was 86,000,
that is correct.
so we've
Correct.
got,
And what it was to be used for was also tighter restrictions. So I
Right.
think they're going to be lifting a lot of those. That $444,000 is not part of this budget we're passing this evening, because that money's not to us yet, and we don't really have a timeline yet. It's going to come direct from the state this time, not through the county. And so, but yes, that will definitely help with some additional costs incurred for COVID expenses, as well as potentially some operating expenses or equipment we might have been putting off getting. If it falls within our restrictions, then, you know, it'll come up for discussion, so, yep.
My point with that, just in case people, is that we did that budget not counting the COVID relief, okay? Like it was never there. So it's a very conservative budget, because in this budget, we are counting for us to pay for everything, whether it's related to COVID relief or our other operations that aren't part of that, part of the COVID pandemic, you know, extra charges. So I think it was, you know, it's kind of nice it came afterwards, even though we were, you know, because we didn't include it, and we still don't have it yet, so, you know, we don't want to count something we don't have yet, so. That's,
Mayor Colgraf,
yes.
could you repeat that award amount, or?
Yeah,
444.
it's 3 fours, 444,000, a lot of fours in this one, and maybe it's a lucky number, I don't know. 444,000, Ray, and $874. It's funny how they come up, well, they divide it up and it comes up with the,
22 cents.
$874.
Some municipalities across the country got 4 times their annual budgets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, other question, Mayor,
Yes.
could you share the, what that award looks like with members of council, so that we can begin to, you know, think and toward the future, you know, where we.
Yeah, we could send you the documents and stuff, right?
All right.
Not a problem. Actually, what I have, I just got it, but yeah, that was something planned on doing. And probably, this is what we do know, and that's kind of why I brought it up. I thought in our budget discussions, I know council and Angela, myself, Mr. Montello, we talked about having a mid-year, you know, reviewing the budget again mid-year, maybe making some appropriations if possible, you know, maybe for some improvements or equipment, and this is probably going to be an important part of that, because we'll know where we can allocate it, and, you know, and so we're definitely going to need that budget here, you know, another coming up maybe mid-year or the 7th month, maybe July, to see where we're at and see how we're doing and where we're going to spend this. you know, I think we did a great job as an administration and council and to spend the 86,000 that we had. We spent it in the right places, and I thought that was good, and we'll do the same thing here. But I think we will have to get together, so yeah, so that you'll have all the documents, and I think we're gonna have this much discussion on it too, on where to allocate it.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I believe, Angela, you don't have all of the information yet about what it can be spent on.
Yeah, I need to look at all the specifics of exactly where we can spend it, exactly. Because there will still be some restrictions. It's not going to be revenue replacement. Like, that's
Right.
still going to be restricted for sure. So I will take a hard look at all of that. Obviously, we've got meeting expenses currently still, and still some PPE ongoing. But we will definitely take a look. Last time, we were a little more restricted, and so we did use some for our fire contract, which I'm sure we could potentially use again, you know, in the same places, as well as some part-time police salaries. So I'm sure those things won't be taken off the table to use for first responder salaries, but at the same time, if it's broader and we can do more with it
Right.
and replace items that we need, that we've been putting off, then that's something we'll definitely take a look at.
Right, and that was one, just so everybody knows, I had asked the mayor, and that's when I found out Angela didn't know the full extent yet. But I said, with everything that we know about COVID, maybe there's some hope that we can get this village hall a new updated heating and ventilation system. Possibly with even some grants that Tom Jordan knows about, and maybe some of that money can go to that, because I know it's been quite a long time since this building's been done. So
Absolutely.
we'll keep our fingers crossed that that might be something we can do.
correct. So that's something we'll be talking about. And we'll share everything with you.
Yeah, as we go.
It's a good thing, so.
As we know, we always have items on our wish list, so
Yeah.
it won't go unspent, let's.
No, we won't, that's for sure. And let's hope that that's it. Let's hope that we keep going in the direction we're going and things continue to get better. So. Okay, we're still on ordinance 2021-4.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
I spoke this weekend, some by text, some by phone, with some of the members of council here, just to get an idea, and because it was brought to my attention, and some people were concerned about some of the items in the budget. Council was told by the state auditor, and Angela, please correct me at any time if I'm going down the wrong path, that we had missed some items, retroactive pay, things like that, that by legislation, we are obligated to pay, whether it be, and it really goes to almost everybody, the employees, council, mayor, and this has not been going through. So the village was going to get hit by the auditor with that unless we made those appropriate appropriations and fulfilled the duty of what we had with past legislation. So in trying to figure out how do we do this to let people know, yes, some items in our budget are going to be skewed because there's going to be some retroactive pay. And we really can't do, my understanding from Mr. Montello, is a type of legislation because that would require a vote, and we can't vote because we're legally already bound to pay this money out that was agreed to in 2011 and in 2019 and things like that. So Mr. Montello did write up an opinion, and I don't know when he would like to read that, but so that we could have that on the record also about that.
Whenever you like, should we do it before the
that's up to you guys. I'll let you guys, council, decide on that. It's on the record. You can read it now, you can read it both times. It doesn't, whatever you want to do.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments and stuff? I know, Ray, that we've talked about it, and
Well, is that two questions? One, yeah, you read it now, I think is appropriate time to read it while we're in committee of the whole. And then the other question I have is, so does this opinion from our law director serve, will it go as an attachment to this current budget?
absolutely,
Or how
we
does
can do that.
it- Okay.
Yeah. so that it's
Go
right
ahead, John,
there.
but to do that, what would they have to do? Make an amendment? Is it right now as an attachment?
No,
No, so you'd have to make it, they can make an amendment.
Sure, you can make a motion to amend it to the legislation. Just make a motion before you vote on
it's an exhibit, so it'll just go as an exhibit.
and then before you vote on the legislation. So it's, you make the amendment before you vote.
But we're not really gonna amend the actual legislation, correct? It's gonna go as an exhibit A.
So it'd be an
Yes.
attachment.
Yeah.
We
It's
would
just
just
an
make a motion
attachment,
for the attachment of Exhibit A.
So,
You amend it to say,
As an attachment.
the letter from
To add
the law
attachment.
solicitor will be attached as exhibit A, is that? Yeah.
That's short and sweet,
Right.
yeah. Very
Yep.
good.
Just define what the letter is.
All right, want me to read it then?
That's up there.
That's
Okay.
fine, no problem. I'm going to take this down so people can hear me a little better. The 2021 permanent appropriations contained compensation items for retroactive payment on all cost of living increases to all employees and elected officials, as well as a retroactive safety director pay for the mayor pursuant to Chapter 230.02 of the village's codified ordinances. The safety director pay is not discretionary, along with some of the raises, and is mandated by ordinance 2011-18 passed July 25th, 2011. Due to inadvertence last year, the pay was not received in 2020, and the issue was raised by the state auditor. Therefore, it is my opinion that no legislation is required, and the budget accurately reflects the legal obligations of the village, so you have to include it to do a proper budget. And respectively, myself. And that's it.
Okay. Who's going to, any other questions related to the budget?
We did,
I'll introduce that, Mayor.
Okay, Jennifer's going to introduce the,
Did you have a question?
okay.
I didn't have a question, just a comment for, since we spoke last week in Committee of the Whole, there were just a couple minor changes that were included that we did speak about. Could Angela just
Correct.
update us
So-
on those?
In last week's meeting, we spoke about the fact that I had $2,000 allocated under the recreation budget for maintenance of buildings and land toward that buffer we're gonna put up at the event center. I added an additional $4,000 per Rob's quote, might have even been 5. Rob gave me a quote for all the work that would be put for putting in the trees and putting up the fence. So that number had been amended for that to be added. We also talked about the need to purchase a new lift for the service garage for George for the new, for proper use with the new police vehicles, for safety's sake. So that 8,000 was also added in. And that's it. Those were the only additions.
And I know there's, might be some things in, as we move forward, I think that having a budget discussion mid-year, three-quarter,
It's a good idea.
especially just to see where we're at, will, you know, be a good thing, in case we have to amend anything. Hoping maybe we do, hoping we get some good things happening and our revenue improves.
And Mayor, also by that time, hopefully we'll have the guidelines to what you can use
Yes.
that money for a little clearer.
Absolutely.
They're not done yet, you know, the people, it's evolving every day. The treasury guidelines, there's seminars on it, people are still trying to figure out what you can use it on and what you can't. So it'll probably take a week or two or three or a month or two before you can figure that out. But
Any other questions, any questions from the residents
No.
on ordinance 2021-4? Any questions from council? So let's go through it real quick, so we'll be ready for the council meeting here. Okay, resolution 2021-4, Gloria's going to introduce that.
Appropriations, Jennifer's introducing.
Yes, I got
Oh, your
Jennifer for that.
resolution, I'm
starting
sorry.
from the.
No, I
I'm
got two
starting from the-
2-4s.
I'm starting from the top.
2 number 4s, just in different spots.
Okay, that's all right. And resolution 2020-6, 21-6, Brian, you were going to introduce that?
Yes.
Okay. And then I got Resolution 2021-7, Sharpscapes. Brian, you were also going to introduce that for suspension. 2021-8, Mary was going to introduce that for suspension, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, 2021-3, the police collective bargaining agreement, Ray is going to introduce that, correct, Ray?
Correct.
Okay, and then 2021-4, the budget, permanent appropriations, Jennifer's going to introduce that for suspension. Okay, I have nothing for other business at this time. I thought the committee reports we can read in the council meeting as we normally do, even though we read them in the committee of the whole due to our how we do our meetings because of the COVID pandemic. Any questions on the legislation? Okay. Anybody have anything for other business? I think I'm good. I think the other business is to move on to the council meeting. Okay. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the COW meeting of March 16th, 2021.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Gloria. I think she beat you there. Photo finish. Okay. So, well, take a vote.
Thanks.
That's okay.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, meeting adjourned at COW meeting, Village of Walton Hills, March 16th. Meeting adjourned at 7:43 p.m. Okay. Does anybody want to take a break, or are we going to go right into the meeting? Anybody need to take a break? Or? Okay, here we go. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Village of Walton Hills regular council meeting of Tuesday, March 16th, 2021 at 7:43 p.m. This meeting is being live streamed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are following House Bill 404 that allows public bodies to meet electronically through July 2021. Okay, that's called to order. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to have a moment of silence for our deceased residents, Marilyn Woodard, Denise Bash, Danielle Rawlings, Carmel Adams, Michael Rico, Joseph Lukes, Annette Kuhn, Rose Trebuzzo, and William Deek, and all our men and women serving our country. Thank you, everybody. Okay, roll call.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Here.
Councilman Linville?
Present.
Councilwoman Allen?
Here.
Councilwoman Terlasky?
Here.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Here.
Councilman Whedon?
Here. All of council present, along with our fiscal officer, Angela Reve, and our law director, John Montello. Okay, we'll go through our council meeting and our special council meeting minutes. Can we have a motion for the regular council meeting minutes of January 19th, 2021?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the regular council meeting minutes of January 19th, 2021.
Second.
Second by Mr. Linville.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Linville, sorry.
Yes,
Councilwoman Allen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Churlowski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Weed.
Yes. Okay. Meeting minutes of January 19th passed. Thank you, everybody. Can I have a motion for the special council meeting minutes of February 9th, 2021?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the special council meeting minutes of February 9th, 2021.
second,
Second by Mr. Linville.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Linville,
yes,
Councilwoman Allen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Churlowski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Weed.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for passing those minutes. Any comments related to agenda items? Okay,
No comments from,
no comments. Everything going well? Do we have residents on there?
yes, we do.
Okay, good. Good. Okay. Any council comments? I think we, okay. I'm going to give I'm getting ahead of myself. I got to give my mayor's report first. Okay, we'll start with the monthly mayor's court report for February 2021. Okay. For the month, $21,185.88. Year to date, at this time, $39,276.89. Last year to date, $31.13. $48,031.13. And I think you're going to see that start to catch that because things are getting more back to normal.
Although we don't, it's a
Right.
two-edged sword. We'd
No,
rather
no,
not have
but
the,
What I mean by that is not so much that we're doing more, there's just more
sure,
activity.
more traffic,
More
sure.
traffic, the bottom line. We're following the same guidelines, still doing the same thing. It's just that there's definitely more people out there. We can see it. What was odd today for myself, just going to work, and I left the same time, which is early, there was so much traffic, I was like, was there an accident before me or something? And this was 20 after 6, and it was unbelievable. I just was like, it was just odd. It was just, and I don't know if people are just, more things are opening up, and I hope I hope that things are opening up and we're staying safe, so. Okay, and now here's our police. For the month of February, the Walton Hills Police Department issued 118 citations in the month of January. The predominant violation was speeding in February with 41 citations, followed by 12 written for driving with a suspended license, 7 citations for tinted glass. There was only 1 arrest for driving while under the influence of alcohol and drugs, so we were happy about that. It's nice when we have 0. We don't see it too often, but 1 is a good thing too. It's when we have a 7 or 8 that's not good. Okay, so that is it for me with my report there. Any council comments?
Well, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to report on economic development. I don't have anything new from Mr. Jordan as far as a new report, so I can give a little recap of what was in the journal, and then we do have 1 new item. So the first item here is the village has received funding from EPA to develop a scope of environmental cleanup for 710 Crick Road. The grant is valued at approximately $20,000. Once the scope is finished and approved by the EPA, we can start the remaining cleanup. We also approved a grant for further documentation of the cleanup and further environmental testing. The value of this grant is approximately $10,000. All of these efforts are to return the site to productive use. The village prepared for and participated in the annual Joint Economic Development District, JED, meeting with Sagamore Hills. The annual budget was passed and the discussion of the ongoing efforts to expand the facility and increased tax revenue. The village acts as the fiscal agent and tax collection agency for the JED. Despite the COVID-19 emergency and the sluggish commercial real estate market, Ford continues to move forward with the sale of the site. We have met a group of prospective purchasers within the last 30 days and discussed development options for the site and responded to inquiries. We continue to provide information to the business community to access federal, state, and county financial assistance available for small business during the pandemic. And then lastly, the new item is that we applied for a grant from Northeast Ohio Area-Wide Coordinating Agency, NOACA, for an EV charging station at the Village Hall. And this would be no cost to us. So this would be something else we'd have to offer. So we'll see what happens
We'll
with
see what
that.
happens.
Yeah, so that's my report.
And one of the questions was, would you be willing to do it this year or next year? And we made it think that we'd be fine with this year. You know, we have no reason to wait. Our parking lot would be a good place, and we have the cameras there. It's a safe place, so we're hoping we get it. No cost to the village. The only other thing, just to mention, I'm not going to say too much. I know council's aware, but I sent you a copy of it on Sunday when it came out, the electronic copy. There was an article, I know residents inquire each meeting about the Ford plant. There was an article in the Crane's Business, and it was I got it right here, Crane's Cleveland Business. It was the March 15th paper, which was Monday, yesterday, and it's on the third page. There's an article just talking about what they feel, Mr. Stan Baller feels, is interested parties. I did just give a small quotation, as I said before. We're hoping it closes soon. Out of respect for Ford and the potential purchasers, I'm not going to disclose any names. So it's just an article in there. I think that the positive thing is there's a lot of movement out there. The article does mention that regional industrial vacancy is only around 4%, and that large pieces of land and developable land that can be developed for repurpose or redevelopment, they're scarce. There's not a lot of them. So let's continue to stay positive and hope that things continue to move in a good direction there. And hopefully one day we'll be able to soon here announce some good things. So just wanted to touch base with that. That's the only thing I have there. Any other committee? You want to, Gloria, do a committee report?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to read the Recreation Department report for March 2021. The Recreation Department applied for a grant with the Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and they got it, $5,000. And kudos for Natalie Buck for applying for this. It will be used for equipment supplies, instructor fees, outreach, marketing, staff training to help create a welcoming environment for those with disabilities. As a caregiver myself, I know how very important this is for people with disabilities. And I would hope that with our recreation center down there, we can improve getting into the building itself. A door is like a wall for a person that has disabilities. And the caregiver who is pushing that wheelchair to try to get it through the door. You know, many of the hospitals and places like that have that plate where you press. But then when you have double doors, and the worst place is a movie theater, believe it or not, to try to get into. But I would like to see, and any businessmen that are listening here, and if they're thinking about redoing something in their business, how about putting some little plates so people could get in there a lot easier than what has been in the past. But that's great news that we're getting that grant. Also, our website has been updated, and you'll find new photos, mission statement, programs, services, employment opportunities, new hours, and transport drivers' names. I can't tell you enough how great those guys and ladies are that do the transporting of the people. Added links also, it will show employment application, room rental contracts and rules, T-ball, baseball, and softball registration forms, park or summer camp information packet and registration form, transportation service information and registration forms. The Community Events Center, we've already booked now for every Saturday through April through October in 2021, and filling up dates on Fridays and Saturdays as well. Due to the COVID and lack of parking spaces, we are only renting out one room per day. The senior lunch, next senior lunch is Thursday, March 25th, where we will continue our drive-through service and are serving chicken paprikash and pretzels for anyone that hasn't eaten. You're probably hungry on that one. You can register by March 18th, and the registration for employment summer camp and baseball program, the registration began on March 1st and ends on March 31st. All information and forms were on the website as of Monday, March 1st. Summer camp, we have already exceeded our maximum of 30 children in the camp, and we are able to extend our capacity to 35 children. Employment applications, 7 returning counselors and 8 new applications. Baseball, no registration received as baseball as of yet. So great, our recreation and community life is going full force, and I hope this is the beginning that we can move forward with all that's been going on for the last year. So thank you, Recreation. You do a great job.
Very nice.
Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Very nice. And Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
I have a report from Mr. Kalman, our street commissioner, if I may. This is his report dated today, March 16th. The Service Department has installed a total of 46 new LED fixtures in the police and administration at the Village Hall. Additionally, 3 new LED parking lot pole lights have been installed at the Village Hall. The service crew completed much-needed repairs to a collapsed 24-inch storm line that serves Andrus Drive, and repairs have been completed to the chipper, and it's ready for the season to start on April 19th. Repaired and modified a guardrail is necessary on Ryan Drive. They did some cold patching the streets, including maintaining Dunham Road travel lane during the construction. 17 tons of cold patch has been placed in the last 30 days. I'll repeat that, 17 tons of cold patch. And that's all done by hand, right?
Yes.
Repair right-of-way damage on Notting Hill. Building and zoning report. Permits issued, there were 6 residential permits, 1 commercial, 4 zoning, and 1 sanitary sewer permit issued for a property on Dunham Road, and the work has started. Thank you, Rob, for your report.
Okay. And just to kind of expand on that a little bit, we know Dunham Road is I'm sure everybody's been near it or up and down it. It's happening. They're pouring a lot of concrete this week. The weather's been cooperative last week. So the concrete is the base, because that's, even though it's going to be asphalt final top coating, they still use the base and the curbs, and it's going well. It's going well as far as the construction side. I apologize to the residents and anybody coming in. We've had some residents have been a little frustrated. There's been some delays and different, but it's, there's nothing we can do except they're doing the best they can. The good news is it's moving at a good rate, and it's going to get completed, and hopefully maybe completed before the date, and that's a positive thing. So as much as we're bearing with it now, it's going well. The weather's really been cooperating. The contractor has been able to work. I think they've only missed 1 or 2 days So far, we've had a great winter, good weather, so I know if you live on that street or you have to travel it every day, it stinks. There's no two ways about it, but it has to be done, and the end result is we're gonna have a nice road for to travel on for many years. So just kind of want to update, just keep hanging in there with us, everybody. Any other comments from council?
Well, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I travel Dunham Road now every day, at least Monday through Friday, and I am surprised at how far along it looks to be. And I have to believe a lot has to do with the weather. And if the concrete can look beautiful, it does. They've got a nice surface going on so far on the one side. I mean, I'm trying to keep my eye on my side because there's still enough potholes over there, but it's going along. It's moving quite well, I think.
And you know, I will, we have to mention this, is because of such good employees we have and good departments, and Mr. Spitznagel mentioned all that asphalt, that is our service department doing the cold patching. And sometimes, as fast as they put it down, especially if the weather's bad and the plow trucks have to hit it, it gets lifted. Hopefully now when we repair, it'll stay in, but when we were plowing as fast as, you know, the plow hits that and pops it right out. So really kudos to his crew, and he's assigned a couple of the guys, and plus other guys fill it in. They literally monitor it all day long, and, you know, and to the point we've had people say, oh, I hit a hole, and that hole might have not been in there in the morning, but it was there in the afternoon. So he's really trying to do his best to keep up with it, because we know it's an inconvenience and stuff, so. Kudos to the service garage.
Yes.
Because they got a lot on their plate, plus added that, so. Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I was at the community center last week, and I just wanted to say that I spoke with Maya for a while, the assistant recreation director, and she has been putting in time like crazy trying to put this Parker program together. She's done similar programs, as was in her resume, you know, and but she really has been putting in the time, and she seems very dedicated to it, and it was very nice to see. And she was very excited about it, so I'm hoping that this is going to be a very good year for them. A little different might be for our Parkers, because we've got new people, so everything's not always the exact same, but I do know that her and Natalie have been working on it.
I agree. I think we're gonna make it the best we can for our kids. Okay, any other comments? Okay, we'll move on to the legislation. Okay,
Mr.
item A, resolution 2021-4.
Mr. Mayor,
Gloria?
I'd like to introduce for third reading, Resolution 2021-4, Internet Auction and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Second by Mr. Spitznagel.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Trulaski?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, vote on approval.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for approval of ordinance number 2021-4.
Second.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Trulaski?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Resolution passed 6-0. Item B, resolution 2021-6.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to introduce, and this is for, well, this is the third reading. So I'd like to introduce Resolution 2021-6, a resolution authorizing the fiscal officer to issue blanket purchase orders for goods and services necessary in the daily operations of the Village of Walton Hills and for pre-approved contracted services in an amount not to exceed $150,000 each and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Second by Mr. Whedon.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Trulaski?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Second.
You mean
Yes.
We're deja vuing here.
Ready for the next piece.
Mr. Spitznagel for approval?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to ask for approval of resolution number, no, that was for approval.
That is for approval,
Yeah, that is
basically,
for
because it's third reading.
It was the third
Yeah,
reading.
so-
That's okay.
It passes as an emergency because you're all agreed.
Yep. Okay. Resolution 2021-7, 2021-6, that passed 6-0. Thank you, everybody. Item C, Resolution 2021-7, Sharpscapes and Senior Lawn Care.
And Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Spitznagel.
and this I'm going to ask for suspension of resolution number 2021-7, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Sharpscapes Incorporated for a lawn care service program for senior or handicapped residents of the village of Walton Hills, Ohio for the fiscal year, or for the year 2021 and declaring an emergency.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mary.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Trulaski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Weed.
Yes.
Suspension passed.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of resolution 2021-7.
Is there a second? Second by Mary Brenner Miller.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Trulaski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Weed.
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
can I just state that was for, again, senior handicap lawn care service. The cost for 1 acre for this year is $785 for the lawn care only. If you want leaf pickup, it's $955. It's the same price as last year. And that'll be on the website. It's on the website, and I believe we're putting it in the Journal or something like that also, so residents can go there. Thank you.
Mr. Linville, did you, any?
No comment. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, so that's passed for suspension, 6-0, thank you. Item D, Resolution 2021-8.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce for suspension, Resolution 2028, a resolution authorizing change order number 1 for Fabrizi Trucking and Paving Company, Inc., increasing the contract by $90,962 for the reconstruction of Dunham Road and Tinkers Creek Road and declaring an emergency.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Gloria Terlaus.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Trulaski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Weed.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of Resolution 2021-8.
Second.
Second by Gloria Terlaus. Okay.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Trulaski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Weed.
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed and the resolution was approved, 6-0. Thank you, everybody. Okay, item E, ordinance 2021-3.
Mayor Colgraf and members of council, I am introducing for suspension ordinance number 2021-3, an ordinance authorizing a collective bargaining agreement with the Village of Walton Hills and the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 67, Walton Hills Division, and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Second by Jennifer Allen.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Trulaski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Weed.
Yes. Mayor Colgraf, members of council, I'd like to ask for adoption of ordinance 2021-3.
Second.
Okay, so Jennifer, vote on the.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Trulaski.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Weed.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Suspension passed and approval passed, 6-0. Okay. Item F.
Mis-
Ordinance 2021-4.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce for suspension ordinance 2021-4, an ordinance to make permanent appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Walton Hills, State of Ohio, during the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2021, and ending December 31st, 2021, and declaring an emergency. Where do I put the,
The amendment, when,
does that go after the adoption, or after the suspension?
I would do it now.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to attach the letter of opinion by our law solicitor in regards to the retroactive pay in the budget.
Second.
okay, vote on, so they're voting on suspension and the amendment?
First the amendment, and then.
Amendment.
Okay. Vote on the amendment.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Chulowski?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, that was for the amendment, so we'll attach that to the legislation. Now for suspension with the amendment. So you're asking for suspension with the amendment now.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to ask for suspension of ordinance 2021-4 with the amendment.
Second.
Second by Mary Brenner Miller.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Chulowski?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption, finally, of ordinance number 2021-4.
Second.
Oh, Mary beat you, I think. Okay. Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Chulowski?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
okay, suspension passed and approval passed 6-0. Thank you, everybody, for that. All the new business, I have really nothing at this time. I appreciate everybody working hard to get everything together. I know last year with the COVID pandemic, and it's still taking place, and how we had to do the meetings, and weren't sure on where our budget was gonna fall. I appreciate everybody working with that, and put the temporary budget together, and then also with this permanent budget. The only thing I would like to say, and council can talk to it too, and I'll let you guys talk about what's in the collective bargaining agreement if you want, what you mentioned earlier, Mr. Spitznagel or the committee. But as far as in this budget, is an increase for the employees, and I just want to thank all the employees and everybody for, and I know council feels the same way along with the administration. Last year was a very challenging year for everybody that works for the village. Whether it was just dealing with COVID-19 and how your jobs changed and how you do business. So I just want to thank everybody for that. So that's all I have for that. No other new business. Well, I'm sure we'll have enough things coming into April here. We won't need a special council meeting as this month, so we'll have our first meeting in March unless something were to come up. And if it is a special council meeting, I hope it's a good thing. We're having it, you know, maybe something with something at the corner or something like that. So, any other comments from anybody? Anybody want to make a comment on what we passed tonight, or anything related to the collective bargaining agreement?
Mayor Coldegraff, yes, if I may, just want to mention as it relates to the collective bargaining agreement, one of the major pieces in this collective bargaining agreement is the recognition of our part-time police officers. It was the village residents had voted some time ago to recognize the part-time officers as part of this collective bargaining agreement. Collective bargaining unit, however, they were never incorporated firmly into the CBA. So that has been corrected for this CBA, so that there is a lot of elements in this CBA that does relate to our part-time officers, and I'm glad that we were able to get that done.
And with that said, just to I want to thank again Tom Sursak and Melissa Walsh and the whole police department. I think they came in with a very reasonable proposal, knowing the circumstances that the village still is dealing with as far as, our revenues are improving, but they're improving slowly, and I think they recognize that, and along with the other employees. So just want to thank them for that, thank council and the committee for working through this. It's a 3-year contract. Mr. Spitzley, do you want to add anything related to it, or?
Well, first of all, thanks to the police department. They've always, since I've been sitting here on council, and I know beforehand, they have always been very helpful to us as a village as far as what they ask for and things like that, and they're very realistic. This does include a pay raise. It's a 1.5% pay raise for this year. And that is very, very reasonable. So I'm really happy with the contract. I'm happy with our police officers, and they do an excellent job for us, and I'm glad we could do that for them. And for our general employees also.
Correct. We got a great group of employees. Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I just, in regards to the collective bargaining agreement, I just wanted to point out too that we found out during that time period that our part-time officers are extremely helpful, working almost full-time hours. So for them to finally be recognized in this, I think is a great thing that we did. That being said, I also would like to thank Shannon in dispatch, who called yesterday to talk me through. Apparently there was a breach or a possible breach with the email system in the village, and they locked all of our accounts down and changed our passwords, so when we couldn't get into it, found out it wasn't actually our fault. But I do want to thank her very much for catching that. Whoever it was that caught it, Shannon's the one that walked me through resetting my password, even with all of my technical difficulties that I have with anything like that, and I appreciate it very much, just how quickly they caught that.
And you probably didn't say, you probably said it, I missed it probably, but that was just for the Microsoft email.
Right.
The Microsoft Exchange email, nothing else.
Yeah, it was just the emails that were here. Tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day, so I just want to tell everybody, please be safe and please be socially distant, but have fun.
And that's why you're in green?
Yes.
Hey,
And we are missing one person who's always in green, and it's Gloria Terlowski. You are always St. Patty. You must have been too busy today. But, I know, but usually at our meetings, Gloria is always very dressed in green too. Well, I appreciate you being in green. With that said, I know Ray, with anybody here on council, if on your village email you see something that's strange, as always, don't open it up, or something related, call here, whether you talk to Angela, Shannon, Stan, Lisa, Nancy, and Mary, they'll get you through to, Shannon is doing a lot of that, and I know Angela gets involved too if needed with the contractor, but Ray got something that was spam, had my name on it.
yeah, I did too.
You guys
I
know
did
too?
too.
Like
I didn't
last
even
week,
tell
wasn't
you.
it, something like that?
Yeah, and he let me know and got that over to Shannon. So any of that, just remember, don't open it, because if you open it, that's, you can be exposing your computer and stuff.
Yeah.
But just to let you know, it's more and more of it.
Well,
you
hey,
know.
I don't want to brag, but last week I got a fax that some Nigerian prince is sending me $20 million. All I got to do is send him some money in advance so he can transfer the funds. So
Tell him to transfer the
I
funds to
might
the
be
Walton
building a
bills.
bigger house,
Yeah,
just to let you know.
I never can understand those, because I've had those too, Brian. We must have the same friends. Why they just can't take it? Like, I'd be willing even to, like, send you, if they could even have 10 of it and send you 10, and you'd probably
Yep.
be happy.
Exactly.
They just can't take it out of that
No.
lump sum, I guess, you know?
Well, Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
aren't we glad we got the cyber insurance
Oh, yeah.
now? Even though thankfully
I
we
mean, those
really
emails
haven't.
are common,
The
very
fact
common.
that we didn't have it just shocked me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hopefully, we won't need it,
yes, exactly.
but it is there. Okay, anything else?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
the one last thing I have is I would like to thank Sarah, who has been with us as our videographer for many months and is very pregnant, and this will be her last meeting with us because she's going to be having a son in just a couple of weeks, and I want to thank her very much, especially for the patience when she's done some of these marathon executive sessions with
Yeah.
us and stuff, so we do appreciate and we will miss you.
And congratulations.
Yeah,
Yes, congratulations
We hope
and
everything
good luck.
goes well for you and your family and the
Yeah.
baby. I know your son's very excited too, she said, so.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Gloria?
Two things. We were talking about scams. It's happening in the nursing homes now, and assisted living. There's people in there that are asking the other people for their credit cards, and they're charging on their credit cards for the
Wow.
other people that are living in there. So, I mean, it's hitting every facet of they can possibly do to scam you. The second thing is, I want to just say, Angela, I think you do a great job with this budget that you've done. Seamless going through all this, wearing many hats, including the taxes. As a former tax administrator, I know how taxing that can be. Nobody likes to pay taxes, and most people that call you are not happy. So I appreciate the work that you do, and I'm glad that you're here and doing both jobs, because we need people who really know what they're doing, and you surely do that. And for all the other employees in our city, they're second to none. I mean, the service, the police, the fire, everything we have is just top rate. There's something in the water in Walton Hills that makes these people caring people to the residents. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Just real quick, if I may, also, while we're on our scams, I'm sure most of you had heard that unemployment claims, obviously, were coming through fraudulent at multiple locations. So just to update everyone, we have had about 5 with just our employees alone. And then we actually had one employee who's not an employer receive at home last weekend 3 employees to verify to pay unemployment with her as an employer. So keep your eyes out. If you get anything in your mail from the unemployment system, that, bring it to me if you know you haven't filed, obviously. And they have a whole spreadsheet that we use, and I uploaded it once already. I'll do it again for multiple employees getting tagged. Now, some of them I'm getting asked to verify, so hopefully that's stopping it in its tracks. And others, I'm just getting a notification that they've already qualified, so it was filed with another employer potentially, and we're an interested party. So, just keep your eyes out for things like that. It's unfortunate that the government's giving away so much money and people still need to feel the need to scam them out of more. But, so keep your eyes open, and let me know if I can be of assistance with any of that if you're getting letters. Thank you.
I know, we talked, Brian, a little bit about it, and we have kind of been putting something in the journal almost for information, almost, monthly, and it almost seems redundant, but we need to, because we get, between Angela on the financial side and the chief, calls about, as you mentioned, Gloria, the scamming, from just calling people up and saying a relative's in trouble, please send us money, or something, and, some of the calls are very scary for a resident, they're not sure. But
Yeah.
any residents out there, anything
Call
you're not
up here.
sure of, do
Yeah.
not hesitate to call our police department.
Or me. that's
Or,
fine.
or
Yeah.
Angela, our fiscal officer, do not hesitate. Before you do anything, we just can't say it enough. We are here if you're not sure, or identity theft, any way that those departments can help you to relieve any of that, or at least give you some guidance, don't hesitate. Do not give any, doesn't hurt to come up and talk to Angela or Stan, the police chief, and say, hey, I feel like I'm being scammed, and better off before you do anything.
Right.
Because it's been increasing here. The police department has been spending more time too with filling out reports, because that's one of the things, or identity theft, you have to fill out a report, and you'd be surprised how I've seen unfortunately quite a few of our residents in the hallway here, and I'll say, what are you here for? And, oh, Mayor, I got my identity stolen, and I have to fill out a police report. And it's just sad, because you see it on their face, and everything they have to go through to get it straightened out. So, if you can ever get it completely straightened out, so. Any other comments? Okay, can I have a motion for adjournment?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for adjournment of the regular council meeting of March 16th, 2021.
Second.
Second by Mary Brenner Miller. I love saying that. Mary.
Don't get
I'm
divorced.
giving credit to Mike there. It's that
Like Mike
good old
Brand.
Amish name or something.
Like
Mary
say it
Brenner
like
Miller.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.